Hi, this is Mr. Phil with another math video. Today we're going to continue looking at word problems, but for this particular video we're going to focus on solving subtraction-based word problems. So like I said in the addition video, word problems matter because in reality you're going to be solving word problems. You're not going to be given a list of sums or differences and asked to solve them. You're instead going to be asked to recognize the situation and then use your mathematics to solve the situation. So for a subtraction example, let's say you're at the store, you have $10 and you want to buy something that costs $5.34. You would use subtraction to figure out how much money you get back from the cashier. So the cashier is not going to say, what's 10 take away $5.34? You have to just recognize kind of by yourself that you're finding a difference between what you have and what you're spending. Okay, so let's go ahead and break down a subtraction word problem and use our processes to solve it. So as always, we're going to use RDW, read the problem, draw a model for the problem, and then write your response out. Since this is a word problem, we're going to also use BUCK to solve it. And BUCK stands for box the question. Underline the math language, circle the verbs or the actions, and then kick out things you don't need. So let's go ahead and read the problem, and then we'll go through the BUCK process afterwards. So Stephanie created 320 invitations for her wedding. She mailed 157 invitations on Friday. How many invitations remain to be mailed? Okay, let's move into the BUCK process. B, box the question. Well, there's my question mark. And there's my question word, how. So how many invitations remain to be mailed? Go ahead and box that up. Okay, you, underline the math language. We're looking for numbers or words that indicate mathematics or mathematical operations. So the first number I see is 320. She created 320 invitations for her wedding. So she must have 320 guests coming to her wedding because she has 320 invitations. Next math language I see, she mailed 157 invitations on Friday. So she had 320, she mailed out 157 of them on Friday. Then looking for math phrases, how many invitations is a key one. And then remain. Remain kind of means leftover, like what's left over after she mailed those invitations out on Friday. So cross off my B, cross off my U, let's move on to circle the verbs. So she created, that's what she did, and then she mailed some of those invitations out. So she created a bunch of them, she had 320 of them, then she mailed off 157. How many invitations remain to be? To be is a verb, and then mailed. Cross off the C. Okay, kick out stuff we don't need. I don't really need to know what day she mailed them off at. She mailed them out on, so I'm going to cross off Friday. Everything else here, I'll probably be using either in my model or in my written explanation, so I'll keep the rest of it in there. Okay, last thing before we move on to draw a model, we'll cross the V by the way, let's ask our two questions. What do we know? And just as important, what am I supposed to do? Okay, so in the world of this problem, what do we know? Well, we know that Stephanie's getting married, and we know that she made 320 invitations for her wedding. So she has 320 of these invitations. I also know that on Friday, she mailed out some of her invitations. So she took some of those invitations and stuck them in the mailbox. So she took some of these and mailed them out. And I know that she mailed out 157 of those invitations. So she got rid of 157 invitations. Okay, other than that, I don't know much. I just know she had this many, and then she got rid of this many. Okay, what am I supposed to do? Well, let's look at our question. How many invitations remain to be mailed? Basically, how many invitations are left to be mailed? So I've got to figure out, she had this many invitations to start, she mailed off this many, how many are left over? So since I'm finding a difference between what she had and what she sent out on Friday, I'm looking at subtraction here. I'm finding a difference between 320 and 157. So she had this many. She mailed off this many. How many are left? Okay, now that I've read my problem and kind of broken it down, I'm going to move on to the draw a model part of the process. So since I'm doing subtraction, I have a couple of options here. I can do a picture model for it, or I can just do place value model for it. Today, let's go ahead and do place value model. So for that, I'm going to take my two values here, my minuend and my subtrahend, and I'm going to break them apart. So my minuend has 3 hundreds. Be sure to leave space here for borrowing and regrouping if you need to do it. 2 tens, and then 0 ones. In my minuend, I have 100, 5 tens, and 7 ones. And since I'm finding a difference here, I'm going to use subtraction for my model. Okay, so let's go through the process now. I start my ones place. I cannot do 0 take away 7, so I'm going to borrow a 10 and give it to the ones place. So that 10 comes from the tens place. 20 goes down by 10, and it becomes a 10. Because 20 take away 10 is 10. And that 10 I take away does not go into space. It actually goes over to my ones column. So I'm going to add 10 over here. So 10 plus 0, I have 10. Okay, now I subtract. 10 take away 7, my difference is 3. Okay, now go to the tens place. I have 1 10 here, 5 tens here. I can't take 5 tens from 1 10, so I have to borrow. I'm going to go to my hundreds. I'm going to borrow 100. So 300 take away 100, that leaves me with 200s left over. And just like with the tens, that 100 does not disappear. It is added onto my tens place. So I'm thinking, what's 100 plus 10? 100 plus 10 is going to be 110. Now I subtract. I'm going to take away 5 is 6, so I have 6 tens left over. Okay, last do your hundreds place. I have 200s, take away 100, I have 100 left over. Okay, not done yet. Let's take our expanded form here and turn it to standard form. So we do 100 plus 60 plus 3. And I find out that she has 163 invitations left. Okay, cross off my draw model. All right, now for word problems, the W is very important because it should relate to the problem itself. It should actually answer this question. So we're not going to say the difference is 163. That's okay when you just have a straight difference problem, like just numbers. But it's asking me for specific information. How many invitations remain to be mailed? So my W, my answer, should answer that question. So I could say something like this. Stephanie has, might as well use her name, right? Stephanie has 163 invitations. Invitations left. And that would be a good W. Give them a response there. I'm responding to the question as it's asking me. It's asking how many invitations are going to be mailed. She has 163 invitations left to be mailed. So I can cross off my W, and that's it. All right, so just like with the addition problem, really focusing on breaking your word problem apart and kind of breaking it up into its parts. This BUF acronym is very useful for remembering how to do that. So if you follow that process, identify your operation, the rest of it's stuff you've done before, just making your model and then doing your written response to it. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.